Oh, that had to hurt.
Wait, where's Goff? He landed on Goff.
I thought Goff died.
Oh!
This is the beginning of the end for her.
Oh, this is gross. Oh, this is my nightmare. This is like the thought of falling asleep and a giant spider landing on you.
We thought they were going to be important to cops,
oh,
but
this
they're
is
not.
brutal. What?
They're going into the brain, obviously.
Oh, that's bad. Wow, guys, I don't know about you. I need a Tums after that just by looking at it. Chris and Rob here from the Jersey Comic Crew. This is our official review, our reaction to Peacemaker episode 6. Welcome back. Hope everyone was having a great day.
Yeah.
I thought this was an interesting episode. We had a lot of plot moving forward, some real funny moments, but also some really heavy moments too throughout this episode. Rob, what do you think?
I love this episode. We're starting to finally get answers about what exactly the butterflies are, which is something we've desperately been needing. But I wanted to focus my conversation before we get into all of that and all the like craziness that happened with Peacemaker, his family, the cops. That scene that we started the episode with today, where Goth, which cool name, goes into the detective instead of Vigilante, instead of Peacemaker. That's the one he went into. We know that Goth like drew a peace sign to Peacemaker, right? So immediately, like he's trying to communicate. My thinking is that like he wants to work with Peacemaker Vigilante to try to do something, right? And the symbol of peace might be like, hey, we come in peace. We don't want to do all this. But at the same time, we're seeing Goff and like all these other butterflies just take everything over. But like he still wants to talk to Peacemaker Vigilante. So that is leading me to believe that something here is not right, right? It's not this world domination that Murr and that butterfly is saying. There's another angle here that we're not looking at and we're not really focusing on. We're just getting like overstimulated by everything that's going on. We're not asking this hard question. I think that's a very important thing we have to focus on.
I mean, that's totally a possibility, but I think the other possibility, kind of the rooted one, is we know from Myrn that Goff or whoever's in charge, which seems like at least Goff with this regime of butterflies, is trying to, you know, take over the planet, get all these humans and the symbiote burrowing thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think there's also a possibility Goff was doing that because it was trapped, right? Like you're a prisoner, you're trapped in this cage, and like I'm gonna try to communicate, see what I could do. Clearly, we got a big question answered, and that is that the butterflies do have cognitive minds, right? They have minds that can
of their
think
own.
on their own. You know, Myrn kind of explained it very well in that first scene where he was like fantastic, where he's discussing.
I do gotta say, if we don't get a joke in the next 2 episodes about Goff's favorite color, the whole show is ruined for me.
About teal? Or just about the color teal?
I hope it's teal. He's like, just so you know, Vigilante, my favorite color is teal. Brilliant.
I hope it's an awful color. I hope it's like
burgundy.
Like brown, like doo-doo brown or something, like just ridiculous.
Like bombing green.
Yeah, he's just like, oh man, that sucks. But like, I still think Goff is technically one of the bad guys here. The other reason is you had that precinct scene where
that was dark.
You know, not just the scene where like, you know, Sonya Song / Goff calls the other butterflies. They come down in those ships. We now know those are like the butterfly ships.
Yeah.
She has that crazy like screech to the rest of them, and they all are like, you know, coming together like the orcs in Lord of the Rings, and they go take out the rest of the cops and take control over them. So there was that scene where it was like kind of flipping between them and the white dragon stuff. So that is kind of telling us, the audience, like, oh, this is probably really bad. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you brought up the white dragon stuff, right? Because that just reminds me how much trouble Peacemaker is going to be in. Aside from like the white dragon, right? It's all the people that he could count on gone, right? He feels like he can't trust this newfound family because obviously they're hiding this big secret from him. He has no idea what's going on. He has no idea Myrna is the butterfly. He's the only one who doesn't know. And you have Adebayo, who we found out the diary's purpose was to frame him. So, and we know the white dragon's coming. He's going to fight and attack him. So, like, Peacemaker's really getting isolated here, and it's going to be a lot of trouble for him.
It is, and you hit the nail on the head. I think the crux of this episode is that awkward, tense scene where, like, Peacemaker's staring at everyone, and he's like, there's something you're not telling, and like everyone's doing like the non-HR violation of just letting the guy like flip out, you know what I mean? And everyone's just quiet. But you know, we had that. We had the fact that Harcourt knew the whole time, which was a kind of half theory we had. I kind of thought she was a butterfly herself, but she just knew about it because she's the smartest one and has clearly figured everything out before it happens. Even Economos knows, but he just puts his fingers in his ears every time it's not.
He's like, no, it's not real. No.
And you're like, oh my God, he actually does that for real. But you have like kind of everyone has their part. Adebayo just learned about it. Obviously, crazy. when she's also in a lot of hot water too, because she's on a double mission for her mom, Amanda Waller, right? And the diary is something I'm glad you touched upon, because that is something literally last week we were like, what is in this diary? It can't be his. Thank God we were right about that, because what is in that diary, from just a quick glances, and I'm an Easter egg hunter.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
It was crazy awful stuff. So I'm not going to mention anything that was in there, but like you guys can go see it for yourself. But it was clearly his father's diary about all his conspiracy theories, all his craziness, all his white supremacist ideals, just on page, like just the mind dump on page. And so we don't know why Waller really wanted that in his house when she needed Peacemaker. So we're still waiting for that question to be answered.
The only thing I could think of was like to have a fall guy, right? To kind of like secure the mission, and Waller's like cutting loose ends and controlling it. Peacemaker technically is a loose end from the Suicide Squad movie, right? So like she has to deal with that. Hey, let me use this guy again, do another mission, frame this guy, get him back in prison, locked up, and all this other stuff. I don't have to worry about it. And it's all off the surface. Waller doesn't really care about these people. And I think this show and the Suicide Squad movie really does a good job of emphasizing they're just tools to her that she can give two craps about. And it almost seems like she could do the same thing with her daughter. Like her daughter's also a means to end. So it's going to be really interesting to see when she realizes that, like, hey, my mother doesn't have my best interest at heart. I can't trust her anymore. And I think this is like these two characters, Peacemaker and Adebayo, are going to realize that their parental figure, if you will, is not who they thought they were, and they have to like go against that. I'm seeing a lot of family themes in this episode and the whole show.
So I think you were right. I think that scene, but a lot of the stuff we saw with Chris this episode was great as far as like his kind of character development, really wanting to connect with people. The scene with him in Hardcore, obviously with the dove on the gun, and he's like, it's the wrong way, and he's like, oh, she's doing something nice to me. I like. He actually stopped himself from being a jerk, right?
Yeah.
Like it was one of the few times he's able to do that. And then he has that beautiful scene where John Cena, by the way, confirmed he's actually playing the piano. He's playing Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue on the piano.
He's actually doing that. That's cool.
He's actually doing, which is great. And even, which I wanted to touch upon this, because this to me was the best scene of the whole thing. Yeah. Was the first scene of the episode, right? He helps out the janitor from the hospital.
Oh my God, how great was that?
The school.
Yeah.
And doing like the uncle show and tell. And I just absolutely loved it. I loved every horrible thing he called the kids, like the kid with the sad eyes.
Oh my God, it was great.
And then they're leaving. He's like, whatever, as long as those kids feel like shit, my daughter's cool again. Like, it was just a magical, like, I just want this guy in every episode.
I need more of that janitor in the rest of the Peacemaker series when they do it. But like, talking about the crux of that scene and the scene where Hardcore is like, Peacemaker's like, I don't want to kill people anymore, right? Like, we're seeing this change in him, like this hardened, like, killing machine. And even Vigilante's like, we killed the wrong person. Oops, sorry. And we just move forward, right?
He's insane. Yeah.
He's insane. Yeah. But like, we're seeing Peacemaker grow as a person. Like, maybe I don't want to kill anybody anymore. So like, he's actually turning from like not vigilante, an anti-hero villain into an actual superhero that he wants to be. And I think taking down his father in the next episode is going to be the ultimate version of like, hey, I'm going to be a good guy from now on. You guys are going to recognize me. The world's going to recognize me as a good guy. I don't have to be the bad guy that everybody thinks I am.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's going to go through this because not only is he killed from the beginning, we've seen this kind of hesitation when he's going to kill those people in the mansion. Once he saw the kids, now, it's kind of a theme, right? He's around more people that are understanding him. And then he goes to the school and he's helping out a quote unquote friend. And, from that scene where he's crying in his trailer to Vigilante being like his only friend and him saying like, you only really talk to Eagly and he can't talk back to you, or Goff and he's just poking the glass, Yeah. So that whole aspect of him, I think is going to be the flesh out of the rest of this character, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But I'm also interested to see those relationships with the other characters. Him and Adebayo, how is that going to be rectified? Is she going to go against Amanda Waller, or is she going to go against Peacemaker and the Krew, right? Hardcore, are they going to bang? I think everyone wants to know.
I hope so. I'm rooting for him.
I mean, once you take your personal time to carve a dove into a gun instead of like, she's always been at that bar, right? Yeah. Every scene she's at that bar, but instead now she's doing something for him and she's like, you're only 85% like an asshole. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, I'm gonna go play piano now. But like that kind of stuff. And then obviously the revelation of Myrn. If Peacemaker finds out it's Myrn, is he going to find out with just the helmet, or is he just going to find out by them telling him? Like, there's all these still, character relationships that need to come together, which I'm very excited to see.
Well, guys, it's clear to see that Peacemaker is growing as an individual. We only have 2 episodes left. We are very excited to see what's going to happen next. That has been our review and reaction. We want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen next in Peacemaker? Don't worry, we have a couple more videos coming out about this episode, so stay tuned.
And guys, thanks so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, really helps the channel out a lot. If you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications. Like Rob said, you do not want to miss any more of our Peacemaker videos. We will be diving deep into the rest of this episode. And as always, my name is Chris Heller. That's Rob Moran. We're the Jersey Comic Crew, and we'll see you next time.